All right, guys, we are here today to do lesson 6-4. 6-4, oops. 6-4 is a lesson on something called mixed numbers. And mixed numbers are pretty neat because what we've mostly been dealing with so far are actually fractions less than 1, and mixed numbers help you deal with fractions that are greater than 1. So a mixed number definition right here says it's a number that consists of a whole number and a fraction. So here's two examples right here. You've got 1 4/6 as well as 3 4/5. And then we also have a fraction greater than 1 that has a numerator greater than its denominator. Well, that gets a little bit more confusing, but I'm going to actually show you that these two things are actually the same, and these two things are actually the same. So I want you to notice that in this problem, 6 is your denominator, and this one also has 6 as your denominator. This one has 5 as its denominator and 5 as its denominator. So you're going to be able to see that these actually mean the same thing. I'm going to add an extra vocabulary word. I'm not sure why they didn't teach you this one in this lesson, and you don't have to write it down, but it might not be a bad idea. These are something called improper fractions. And what an improper fraction is basically something that has your numerator is going to be larger than your denominator. So that would be like this example of 10/6 and 19/5. That is when your numerator is bigger than your denominator. What it basically means is that you've got more than 1. So let's look at 1 4/6 and 10/6 to start. I'm going to take this box and we're going to imagine that these are a candy bar. Okay, so I'm going to eat 1 full candy bar, but the denominator tells me that it has been cut into 6. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my candy bar into 6 equal-ish pieces. And then I also had a second candy bar, but this time I only ate 4 out of those 6 pieces. I'm going to go ahead and show you with a highlighter how to see what it is that I ate there. So here I've got my 1 full candy bar, or one full candy bar, and then also the 4/6 that I also ate. So if I were to ask you to label this or tell me what this fraction represented, this fraction represents 1 full and then also 4/6 of your second candy bar. But we also have 10/6 here. So this is what I kind of want to show you here. That's kind of neat about these. If we were just asking about sixths, how many sixths did I eat altogether here? On this one, I ate 6/6 of a candy bar. But then on this one right here, I actually ate 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of a candy bar. And again, those sizes were sixths. So if we were to add those two together, you can see that your denominator is going to stay the same, which is a 6. And then what's 6 plus 4? That would be 10. And that is the same as that guy right there. So they mean the same thing. So let's show you again that with 3 4/5 and 19/5. So if I come down here, and I've got my 4 candy bars all set and ready to go, but this time they've all been cut into 5 equal pieces, which of course are harder to cut up, but that's okay. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You get the picture there. So I'm going to pull out the highlighter to show you that I ate 1 full candy bar, and then a second full candy bar. Let's hope these are fun size. And then a third candy bar. And then on this one, I only ate 4 of those fifths. I just couldn't stomach the last piece. So then what that also tells me then is that this could be labeled as 3 full candy bars and then 4/5 of that last one. But I also have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fifths that I ate, plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fifths that I ate, plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fifths that I ate, and then plus 1, 2, 3, 4 fifths that I ate. So again, your denominator ends up staying the same because it's the size of your share. Each were cut into fifths, and I have 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 fifths all together. So that tells me that 19 fifths and 3 4/5 mean the same thing. They're both mixed numbers. This one we call a mixed number, and this one we call an improper fraction. So let's look at that work now with an actual word problem. And this one is going to make you even more hungry because it's talking about Melly's Deli sandwiches. So we've got a deli sandwich price chart here, or price list, and they're telling you the price of all these different kinds of sandwiches. But the only one you really have to deal with for this word problem is actually right here with the super sandwich. And another thing to consider, they're not asking you the price. So although this number is on there, we don't even need it, okay? It's too much information. So let's just focus on what we need, which is that the super sandwich serves 10. So let's look at our word problem. I have 19 friends that are going camping in the park. They order 2 super sandwiches, and each camper eats 1 serving. Well, think about why they ordered 2. How much does each sandwich serve? It serves 10 people, and they have 19 people going. So if you had 2 sandwiches, that should in total give you 20 pieces of sandwich, which would be enough for your 19 friends. But let's work our way through these 4 questions. Number 1 says, how many campers does 1 super sandwich serve? Well, that's simple. We just look right up there and it shows us that it serves 10 people. So we're going to say that it has 10 servings. And question 2 wants to know, it says, what fraction of the second sandwich is needed to serve the rest of the campers? Well, think about what's going on here. What this problem is they're assuming is that you have 19 campers who have already eaten 1 whole sandwich. This 10 is showing me the 10 slices that came with that that first sandwich. And that means then that I have 9 campers that need to still eat. But this question very specifically says what fraction of the second sandwich is needed. Well, I need 9 campers to eat, and what is that sandwich cut into? It is cut into 10 equal pieces. So that means there that your answer to number 2 would be 9/10. Number 3 says what fraction of the second sandwich is left over? Well, this part should be pretty easy. We had a second sandwich that had 10 full slices. We ate 9 of them, which then means your share stays the same, which was tenths, and 10 minus 9 is 1. My final question says, what number tells how many super sandwiches the campers ate in all? And I'm actually going to get you both answers. So first of all, we're going to do just the mixed number. We ate 1 full sandwich, and then out of the second sandwich, they only ate 9/10 of it. But another way you could think about it is that you had 19 campers that ate slices of sandwich that were in the size of tenths. So they ate 19 of those 10th little shares of sandwich. And those numbers are both equal, so they're both correct. The rest of your assignment today is just simply some practice, but what it's going to have you practice is taking something like 1 and 9/10 and turning it into that idea of how many altogether you had, which was 19 of those 10th shares. So we're going to transfer from a mixed number into an improper fraction. So let's look at 5 2/3. That's the first problem on here. And with this one, I want to show it to you in a drawing, although you don't have to draw all of these once you get the hang of it. Okay? So for the number 5 2/3, I want you to consider that you had sandwiches again. So they're telling you that you ate 5. Imagine these are all the same size and shape, and that each of them was cut into 2/3, and you ate every part of those 5 sandwiches. Well, that then would be 3, 6, 9, 12. That means so far you have eaten 15 little pieces of sandwich because they were cut into thirds. Well, you also had this other sandwich where you only ate 2/3 of it. So what would 15 plus this 2 be? That would be 17. So that actually means your answer to number 5 is that you ate 17 slices of that sandwich that was cut into thirds. If that's a little confusing, another good way to think about it is actually by looking at these 2 numbers in your fraction. 5 is the whole number that you had, and 3 is the size of the share. So how many whole shares did you have? You just simply have to multiply these 2 numbers together. I had 5 full groups of thirds, which gave me 15 thirds. But then the rest of this is actually just showing you the extra little bit that you have. So now I can take those 15/3 and I can add 2/3 to it, which will get me 17/3. Let's try another one. Let me erase all of this. Maybe. There we go. And let's go ahead and look over here at number 6. Number 6 was 3 3/7. Now on this one, I'm going to try to do this problem without having to draw a picture. So I want you to consider what's going on here. Imagine that you ate 3 of something completely. It just so happens, though, that what you ate was cut into 7 pieces. So that means altogether you had 3 groups of 7 pieces. So what's 3 times 7? That's going to be 21 of those 7ths that you've eaten so far, right? But then it also tells you that you also ate 3/7. So that means that I need to add those two together. Your denominator is going to end up staying the same. And then 21 plus 3 is 24. Now I actually have a pretty easy way that I actually like to look at these once I understand what's going on. This is the process my brain goes through to make these a little bit easier. I simply take these two numbers and I multiply them together, and then I take these two numbers and I add them together. So let me walk you through that. What's 10 times 6? That's going to be 60. And then what's 60 plus 6? That's going to be 66. What was the size of my share? My size of my share was tenths, so this would be 66 tenths. Let's try that again with number 8. What's 4 times 9? That's 36. That means I have eaten 36 full shares of these fourths, and then I also ate one more. So that would be 37 fourths. Pause the video for just a second, and I want you to try 9 through 14. And when you're done, go ahead and hit play, because I'm going to give you these answers. But I want you to pause and try 9 through 14 real quick. Okay, good. Hopefully you paused and now you've come back. I'm going to answer these pretty fast. 8 times 2 is 16. 16 plus 7 is actually going to be 23, so that means you would have eaten 23 of these 8s. 9 times 4 is 36. That means you ate 36 full ninths, plus 5 more would be 41 ninths. 5 times 8 is 40, so that means you ate 40 fifths, plus 3 more, which would make this 43 fifths. And then for number 12, you've got 6 times 7, which is 42, plus 4 more of those would make for 46 sixths. And then this one actually wants you to go the other way. 40 divided by 6. Remember, this fraction can also be a division symbol. So that would be like saying, what's 40 divided by 6? Well, if I skip count by 6's, the closest I can get to 40 is actually going to be 6. So 6 times 6 is 36, and that leaves me with 4. So the way I would write this is that 6 would be my whole number, 4 is my leftover, and 6 is my share. Number 14, same deal. This actually becomes 11 divided by 2. So 2 goes into 11 5 times, and that leaves me with one little leftover to make that 5.5. You might want to try those on your own. I'm not going to get you, I don't have time to give you the answers on that one. So the last thing I want to do is show you your options for work to do today to show your learning. So one is you could go back and finish the rest of the page we didn't do, or you could simply just go finish this homework page, which is 135 to 136. Again, I might be wrong. I'm pretty sure that's correct, but you can always check at the top of the page to make sure you're doing 6-4. And then your last option is in your weekly plan that I sent out to your parents. I showed some IXL lessons that you could do to practice the skill, so you could also go practice those as well. Log into the Zoom calls if this didn't make sense today, and I would love to help you figure out mixed numbers and improper fractions.